It's another episode of Sunday Night with ILXCTF. I'm your host, Mike Newman, the editor of ILXCTF.com and also DieStat TFX national editor. What a beautiful day yesterday it was I was at Palatine, obviously, but right now there's a nice breeze coming out into my office. I've been working here for a little bit. Bailed out in the Bears game. 47 yards. Are you kidding me? And that's what you guys wanted. A lot of things went on. And what about that kick by the Baltimore kicker? Justin Tucker, the bad 66-yard field goal that bounced off the upright and through. That was cool. And United States in the Ryder Cup. We won't talk about the Cubs, Sox, division winners. Let's go. So a lot to talk about this week. We're going to talk mainly about Palatine, and then there's some other meets that happened across the states. So let's start with Palatine. The girls' race. So at about 1.75 miles, Josephine Wellen goes by me, then Mary Grace Hegberg goes by me, and then Brooke Johnston goes by me. And she's about 10 seconds behind Wellen at that point. So what happens at the end? Johnston wins by 3 seconds. She was listening to the voices in her head. I can't do it anymore. I can't do this. People in the crowd were going, you can do this, you can do this. And she's like, well, let me try. And sometimes when you don't listen to your mind, you just go out and race, like she said, good things happen. So she ran 16:53. What a great race for her. She misses the course record by only 4 seconds. That's how good the conditions were yesterday. And we had mud 2 years ago, and nobody was getting close to the winning times or anything like that. So Josephine Wellen, great race by her, second race of the season. She runs 16:56. Mary Grace Hegberg. Now, I didn't expect her in the race. At the beginning, I'm like, hey, that's Mary Grace Hegberg. So she ran 17:19 to get third. What can we say about York? What can we say about the York girls team right now? Not much. I mean, you run a 16-second split off of Climac to Quinn. You have 5 runners in the top 16. And then the second place team is Assumption from Kentucky with 181 points. York had 47, 48 points, something like that. So, are they the favorites for the 3A state meet? You might as well pencil them in unless something catastrophic happens. So they run at Wheat North the Flight Classic, Fulton Flight, the Fulton Fight. God, I can't talk. The meet at Wheat North at St. James, the flight meet. So they run that. Then they run the West Suburban Silver, which will be a good meet, but I think they're so far ahead of everybody else. They have a decent, easy regional. They have a better sectional, not a tough one they should win. And then we get to state. So it'll be interesting to see how they progress over the next few weeks. It'll be interesting to see how they run individually in different flights. So York I didn't write that, 47, 48, Assumption 181, Loyola ran a pretty good race with 221, 231, something like that. Maine South ran a great race, second race of the year at 234. Lions 236, not a bad race by them. And then Downers Grove North, Prospect didn't have 2 of their top 5 runners in the race, Galway and Lily Ginsburg. We saw Lily Ginsburg in the 2.5 mile par-stop race where she won by over a minute. It was ridiculous. She just cruised to the win there. She looked great. Oak Park River Forest had the same score as Prospect. I don't think they ran everybody. I haven't looked yet. I haven't started working on the rankings, so haven't looked to see who had what. Barrington was next, and then Wheaton Warrenville South rounded up the top 10. On the boys' side, here again, at the beginning of the race, I'm like, Marcellus Mines, what's he doing in this race? I didn't see him in the entries. Well, he entered at the last minute. And Nick Falk, credit him, he was the one that drove that race where he was pushing throughout. Put that there. There's a nice breeze coming in here, like I said. So Mines said he started making little moves at 1,200 meters. A coach yelled at him, it's 800 meters to go, I better take off. And so him and Falk kind of separated from the rest of the pack. 14:40 is a legit time, and I mean, I think the course is 8, 10, 12 seconds slower than it is Detweiler. So you do the math, and Mines ran 14:45 the week before, equivalent to under 14:30, possibly. I haven't looked at this Roland speed ratings yet to see where it ranks there. It'll be interesting to see where it ranks. Nick Falk ran a great race, 14:42. Ethan Summer. Let's talk about him for a second. Who had Ethan Summer finishing in the top 5 in state this year? Oh, you did not. All these people are raising their hands. No. I mean, the first race that he ran last week at Peoria, I'm like, boy, he looks good. I saw him run a workout on Monday. He looked better. And he looks great right now. And he's going to do some great things over the next few weeks. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But Summer third, Tim Newman. How about Timmy Newman from Downers Grove South? Finishes 111th last week at Peoria, and then he's like, I had a bad race in the triangle, I had a bunker or something like that. He comes back, tries to take the lead, he finishes 4th. And then Ryan Watts, Newman was 1 second behind Summer. Ryan Watts, 14:54. Edwards was dejected afterwards, and Watts, that was his first all-out race, and he gets 5th in a high-stakes field like that. So, Ryan, keep your head up. That was a rust buster. I can't wait to see what you do the rest of this year. Team-wise, I looked at the team totals. I'm like, I mean, as everybody's coming in, I'm shooting video, and I'm like, oh boy, everybody's all over the place. But that's not a surprise, really. I mean, New Trier had 134 points. They didn't have one of their top 5 runners. Aldo Cuello, or I can't remember what his last name is. York didn't have one of their top 5 runners. Eric Rutherford. Hinsdale Central, Daniel Watkew ended up 11th in the race. He was under the weather, and he looked like in the last half of the race he looked so tired. Found out afterwards he had missed 3 or 4 days of practice because he was sick. So you question, you ask yourself, why did he run? But knowing Daniel, he wants to go out and help his team. And he was still the #1 runner for the team. And he'll be up there again in the big races. He'll be up there in a few weeks at Twilight. Yeah, we got to talk about Twilight. So New Trier with 134, similar split than they've had most of the year. Hinsdale 146, York with 148. Very close, 12 points separating the first 3 teams. Shows that there's no separation. There's Sandberg and then everybody else right now. So Sandberg didn't race yesterday. Palatine ran a great race. Palatine is just coming on strong with 169 points. Lake Zurich, after their rust buster meet last week, comes back and runs 241 points, and they get 5th. And then Hersey just continues to run better and better every week. 246. Barrington ran a great race compared to what they ran last week at Peoria. They were 251. Downers Grove South 266. St. Louis U 267. Fenwick 2A School 269. Talk about that in a second. Friday at Griak. Now I couldn't believe I saw the national individual rankings. That's why I don't do individual rankings, because it's so, you have the feeling, well, if she ran good at this race, we'll put her here. So Perec runs a 27-second PR last week at Detweiler Park. Drops her time from 16:53 to 16:27, yet she's dropped 4 spots in the national rankings. Go figure. Then she goes out and she gets second in a high stakes race like Roy Griak, and I bet she's dropped out of the top 30. I don't know how it works. I know the team stuff, how it works there, but the individual rankings, whatever. So Allie Wiener from St. Albertville, St. Michael Albertville. It's a 3-word school from Minnesota. She ran grade 1748, correct 1758. Naperville North got 4th, and so St. Paul Highland Park of Minneapolis Minnesota got 3rd. Middleton with Lauren Panasco, who got 3rd overall. Middleton, Wisconsin got 2nd, and Olathe west of Kansas surprised me, winning it. And then Naperville North got 4th. Lucy Westlake was their top runner, 18th place, and then they had a 14-second split. So it's going to be interesting to see how that split compares with York's pack. If Westlake can get ahead of the York pack, and then Naperville North can cut the gap between Westlake and their 2 to 5, it makes it interesting. So, and what about Yorkville? Yorkville gets 5th. They ran a great race. Batavia got 11th. On the boys' side, Yorkville got 19th in the gold division race, ran great. Lanton School, 23rd place. So how does that fall out in 1A? Hard to tell. DePaul ran a good race at Harvest Christian Academy. They were in the top 3, top 4. So those are the 2 teams that are fighting it out. St. Joseph Acton ran a great race at their home meet, the Spartan Classic. So interesting to say the least. At East Peoria, they didn't run it at Illinois Community College. They ran it over in Metamora at Black Partridge Park. It's a 2.94 mile course, and Anna Perry 17:14. That is a great time of the course. On that course, she wins it by 26 seconds over Allie Ince. Ince last week ran 17:46 at Detweiler. She runs 17:42 yesterday in the East Peoria meet. Gets second. Eureka 78, Muhammad Seymour 82. Dunlop was back a little bit. They're ranked number 3 in 2A. I don't think they ran everybody. They're going to be running next week at Peoria, the 3rd of the Peoria trilogy meets. Watch, somebody will use that next week. It's the 3rd of the trilogy. Man. So, any case, on the boys' side, Morton was ranked number 2. Do they go to number 1? They scored 40 points, had a 40-second split on 5. They looked better. Their 4th runner was closer to that front pack, and that's what we were looking for. So they ran a better race. Muhammad Seymour had a 69-second split. They scored 85 points to get 2nd. So the question is, does Morton jump up to number 1? Does Muhammad Seymour is going to drop out of number 1? I can tell you that. Fenwick, maybe. But those are the top 3 teams, I think, right now. We'll wait and see. Find out on Wednesday. Midwest Invite in Janesville. Luke Wiley, 2nd race of the year. He ran 14:34 last week on his home course, and then he runs 15:05 on a hilly course at Black Hawk Golf Course outside of Janesville, and wins the race by about 11 seconds over a Wisconsin kid. I didn't write it down. But 15:05, Wiley running next week at Peoria. Ooh, that boys 3A race next week is going to be lights out. Hinsdale Central on the girls' side, 3 runners in the top 8. They won easily with 63 points. They're going to sneak up on people, and McCabe knows what he's doing. Well, I think he does. He says he does. That's what he's told me. In any case. But Hinsdale Central peaks at the right time, and they will. They're not going to be at Twilight this year. They're going to that flight meet at Loyola 2 days later. So interesting to see. We'll see Hinsdale Central in a couple of weeks at West Suburban Silver. St. Joseph Ogden, Ryder James, road course, 14:21, but 14:21 for 3 miles. Hey, what a great time by James. And an Eli Mogenaire, 15 minutes, just under just at 15 minutes. St. Joseph Ogden, 32-second split on 5, I think. 65 points. St. Teresa ran a great race, 104 points. And Arthur Lovington still has a problem with their fifth runner. They had 4 guys up there. Fifth runner is too far back. And I think they were missing, their fifth runner. So they scored 116 points. Katie Almari wins the girls' race 17:25. Mabry Bruin 17:29 for second. Tolono Unity, there's going to be a flip-flop in there. Nobody's going to touch Winnebago. Winnebago scored 21 points, ran a 2.05 mile course on their home course. Nobody's going to touch them. They still don't have Katie Erb in their lineup. She was in a boot when we saw her last in Peoria, so hopefully she gets better and is ready to race for state. She's a senior, and she can't that opportunity to run at state. I hope she gets that chance. Naperville girls meet. Naperville Central 40, Plainfield North 86, Oswego East 97, Downers Grove North South 98. Downers Grove South was ranked number 6 in the state. Naperville Central number 7. Plainfield North ran a good race. But Sophia McNerney she was scratched from the race at the last second. Kelsey Casella, their number 3 runner, she did not run either, so they were a little bit short-handed, and they still got 4th. Holly Johnson ran a great race, 17:49, came from behind to win. Louisa Diamond from Bennett took the pace out quick, and Johnson reeled her in. Won by about 30 seconds, actually. Wow. Freeburg, Gavin Genesio, 14:47. Somebody get a wheel on that course. I'm not doubting Genesio's time. It's fantastic. But looking at some of the other times, like Elena Rybeck, 17:20. Olivia Phillips, 17:36. Eris Nelson, 17:38. And I went back and I checked all the race results from the last 6 or 7 years from Freeburg, and yeah, it's a 3-mile course. So, I mean, perfect conditions, great times. Benton won. Benton is looking good in 1A right now. They may move up in the rankings. And that's about it. So a few things. Nike announced that NXN nationally has been called off. I can't really talk about that publicly. That's too bad. But we still have the regional meets. The company from Alabama name eludes me, just like Nike eludes another company. Running Lane. I'm not going to lower myself. Running Lane announced on Friday afternoon that they're running a national meet, but they're inviting people. They're not making teams earn it. So we'll see how many teams. Newberry Park from California already is committed to the meet. So that'll be interesting to see them run down there. That course is pretty fast. So it'll be interesting. So a lot of decisions to be made going into a area of Alabama. Go figure. But good for them. So we have a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We have the rankings will come out Wednesday. We'll have Monday morning finish line tomorrow. I won't talk about NXN. This is the only time we're going to talk about it. But they're going to have 9 NXR regional meets, so it's going to be interesting. There are a lot of bragging rights going on in those regions, so I can't wait to see what teams are going to run there. We'll hope that the top teams run there and see what they can do. So, yeah, one other thing too. If I'm at a meet and you see me going like this, holding a camera and talking into the camera. Now, I talk to myself a lot, but not when I'm holding up a camera. And then there's a reason why I'm doing that. But don't step in front of me. Go back, watch the Naperville girls varsity highlights. You'll see what I mean. I didn't know that you had your camera on. Yeah. It's just funny. It had to run around the course a little bit at Palatine. My legs, I'm 59 years old, and my legs were feeling it yesterday. Aerobically, I felt great. But my legs, it was like, my legs were like, is this the last time we're going to run? I do a lot of walking, but walking and running isn't the same thing. So it was great. It was great to be out at Palatine. To see the crowds lining that finish line, that was so cool. So cool indeed. But I'm glad that we have cross country again in this state. I'm glad that we're going to have a state meet at Detweiler. I can't wait to see that. So we have Monday morning finish line tomorrow. Wednesday we will reveal the rankings for this week. May do sectional rankings. I did them last week and they turned out pretty good. I think I'm going to wait until this week. I may do them. I'm telling you, one person complains, like they did 2 years ago, I'll shut the entire sectional ranking. Oh, I thought we were number 11. And don't email me and ask me questions. Well, we beat this team by this much. Well, I got beat this week. Makes my decision a little bit easier. So don't email me on this stuff, stating your case, why you should be ranked where. The only rankings that count are, everybody, November 6th, right after the state meets. I look at those emails and I laugh and I'm like, I'm not going to reply to them. I won't reply to those messages. They're like, Mike's ignoring me. Yeah, Mike's ignoring you. So, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments. I got a few nice emails today or yesterday. And it's just from parents that don't have kids running anymore that are like, I really miss the fall. So, I think that's it. Everybody have a great week. Peoria Invite this weekend. Twilight meet at Naperville North. So we have individuals, Eva Perek, Grace Shaker, Elia Tonfat, and Drew Rogers. All are coming for this race on October 6th. So we got Peoria. We've got Crete-Monee, no, Crete-Monee isn't happening anymore. I'm sorry. We have Niles West. We have Locktoberfest. We have Wheat North Flight Meet. And then there's some other meets. So that's it. Everybody have a super week. It's going to get really warm in the middle of the week, and then it's going to get nice again, I hope. Can't deal with 90-degree meets anymore. So let's just stay cool and calm like we did on Saturday. So everybody have a great week, and I will talk to you next Sunday for our next edition of Sunday Night with ILXCTF. Talk to you later. Bye.